your products are high quality, but they will also come with a higher price tag. And I know most of my constituents wouldn't be able to afford your clothes. Is it possible to make sustainable fashion that matches high street prices or online prices? Yeah.
I think drawing on what we've been saying before about the sort of the democratization of fashion through low pricing, I think it's really important for us to realize that, yeah, people are buying a lot more than they were and they're throwing a lot more away. It's not that then they're spending less. And in fact, there's evidence to say that the mental well-being of people is diminished through the accumulation beyond a certain level of material goods. So actually, potentially, this idea of cheaper fashion, not only are we not getting better value, we're getting worse value, but it's also detrimental both for the makers and the wearers, potentially. So I think that we have to change cultures, and I think that legislation also around advertising and what we're saying about this consumerist attitude that more is better is something that really needs to be tackled, and that maybe actually we would realise the value of things more by having something that we could be more proud of, that we are incentivised to buy and wear and repair. And going back to the previous conversation about waste strategies, I think that the creative industries is a hugely important industry in this country, and all of us as individuals, professional and citizens, have got creative abilities. And if we can bring back that into the schools programme, into the higher education programmes, there's more making skills, there's more understanding of our active engagement in us being able to continue to repair our clothes, wear our clothes and look after them in different ways. We can be more proud of them ourselves, instead of feeling as if the only way to be socially acceptable is by buying more stuff and discarding what we've already got.
The other thing, oh, sorry. I was just going to say that I think that there needs to also be, and we talked about this already on the panel, but there needs to be an embracing of different business models, that, resale and rental are an opportunity to have access to higher quality products at a lower price point. And that, incentivizing that is necessary to really disrupt the model that we're in right now, because I think that there is a generation now that's probably never seen anything outside of, lower quality product. And I think that once you start to understand and have access to higher quality product at a better price point, which these new models would allow, that will start to shift things, because if you want something that you're going to wear once, rental is an incredible option. And if you want something that is really beautiful and going to last a long time at a lower price point, resale is an incredible option. And the new businesses that have popped up around that, like we work with The Real Real, which is a US organization, which is a consignment model. I think that really does give people access to luxury quality products, higher price point products, but at a lower price point.
Just to add to that, and anecdotally, this Depop in this country is another of these resale models, and we're already seeing that people are buying things now thinking, what will be the value of this when I resell it? And potentially, actually, they can make more money on something by looking after it better and then reselling it maybe even more than they paid for it. So I think there's sort of agency in for the citizen to be able to find ways in which they can be resourceful themselves, I think is really exciting.
Sorry, can I add to that? Just talking about Depop, I was with Tamsin Blanchard the other day, who's part of Fashion Revolution, who I think you guys have heard from already. And she introduced me to Depop, and she told me her teenage daughter used it, and most of the people using it are young teenagers. And I think that has a lot of things to say about the future consumers and how they are consuming and how they will be consuming in different business models than we have today, where you're just buying things that are cheap, that will last about 2 weeks, and then you'll throw them away. These kids are reselling their clothes, they're looking after them so they can resell them, and Depop is massive.
Thank you. Yeah, both my teenage girls use Depop as well. So and that it's a great way of recycling. But you've said, Dilys, that the system is broken, the current system is broken. We need to shift, create a new way of doing things. With the current waste system, completely needs restructuring. Is it possible then to design that fast fashion products, those fast fashion that people and the children, even my teenagers who go on the recycling websites, share their clothes. Is it possible to minimise harm done to the environment and actually fit in with that circular economy?
I mean, we do need different cycles and different speeds of clothes, and at different ages and different temperaments we will want things for different reasons. But I think the idea of the circular model, it can only work if we look at the social value as well as the environmental value, and we look at speed in relation to our mental well-being, in relation to the rights of the workers, for example. So I think that the idea needs to be really dug into more deeply. I think the circularity from a technical perspective of materials makes a lot of sense, and you can take that sort of technical cycle and look at how you can repurpose something. But I think without looking at the social implications of what we're talking about from a materials perspective, if we start with the perspective of fashion being a social process mediated by materials, then I think we have to be to expand what we're talking about as the definition of circularity. Because if what we're talking about is efficiency in materials terms, actually potentially, and still selling more stuff, we actually are drawing on environmental resources more rather than less, and we might actually be kidding ourselves. So I think it's probably a long conversation that we could have about this, but I think, the precautionary principle needs to be adhered to and to be looking at a more holistic model of circularity.
Thank you. So what role do you see for fashion companies like